Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. It is February 15th, Saturday morning, and today we are going to continue our movement conversation. The exciting part is that we are about halfway through this journey together. So yesterday was the 14th day, which was the halfway point, and now we are getting through the rest of the 14 days that will end us on the 28th. So, looking forward to it. We are on the last of the 5 components of the foundation of COR5FIT, which is our God time, sleep, water, nutrition, and movement. So, I'm excited to keep going with you guys today. Today we're going to talk about energy. And in the more section of this, I have in the description, I have the link to the video that kind of started my thoughts down this road. It's a Tony Robbins video, and it was talking about energy and where you get your energy from. And he says that energy equals progress, and energy is everything. Energy doesn't come from our sleep like we think it would. People that have gotten 8 hours of sleep can still feel tired and sluggish. People that have gotten very little sleep can feel super productive during the day and energized to do lots of different things. So sleep, while it's a component, it's not the component for our energy. The next one is food. Some people think energy comes from food, especially when I talk in the nutrition videos about energy in and energy out. We think of energy as food. But after a huge lunch, what do you want to do? Take a nap. Not so much for the get up and get productive and do things. So the other thing is when you eat on the holidays, huge meals, it's not like you want to get up and go run a marathon. It's I want to go take a nap on the couch and sit in front of the TV. So if energy doesn't come from food and it doesn't come from sleep, where is it coming from? It really comes from the mind and the habits that you create. Tony talks about the habits that we created during COVID that we didn't even realize we created. Being inside and not doing the normal things that we used to do, we created these habits that make us less energetic and less active. So these movements, the mind and the habits really are functional based off of the movements that we do. Movements create emotional change as well. If you think you're sitting in front of the computer and you've been at it all day, you start to get tired and not motivated to do anything anymore. If you get up and just take a walk, if you go to another person's desk and have a conversation and start laughing and having a good time, all of that is movement that changes your emotional energy. If you look at, he talks about if you look at kids have these random outbursts of energy for no apparent reason. And when we look at our older generation, they don't have that energy that comes out of nowhere. He even says that no movement is called death. And the less we move, the more likely our brains function, the more likely things inside of us start to shut down. So it really talks about how movement is so important. So the last thing I'll leave you, or not last thing, but the next thing I'll talk to you about is the fact that movement is physical activity. So when we think of physical activity, it's not just exercise like we would think. We do physical activity all day, and that's why movement is so important to that. The best example I have is your normal physical energy is like opening a door. You have no problem walking over to the door, opening it, walking through it, and maybe closing it behind you. But what if that door was iron or solid steel? For some of us, it would take a lot more effort. Some of us wouldn't be able to do it at all. So that's where exercise would come into play to help you build those muscles, to help you get going. You would work up to something like opening a very heavy steel iron door. You'd strain and tear your muscles, micro tears, in order to really strengthen and lengthen them so that you can get that steel door open. So that is what really helps it become an everyday activity. The more that you would strength train and get ready for that opening that steel door, then that would become a daily activity for you. You have no problem opening that steel door. So that's a little bit on the movement and the energy that comes with it. The last thing I want to talk to you guys today is about my running journey. So something that I did. In our other videos, I talked about how I started running, where I'd always been a swimmer, not a runner. And my daughter kind of started my running out with the different things that I wanted to do. So after I started running with her, I wasn't sure exactly if I wanted to keep it up, what that looked like. And she was still right at the end of her cross country. And so I was super bold and I signed up for a turkey 5 miler. So on Thanksgiving weekend, we did a 5 miler at a local park, and it was something that I don't know if I really thought about before I started it. The first thing is I don't like cold. I like to be hot, and it was 31 degrees the day that I decided to run this 5 miler, like my very first race ever. And I'm sweating, and it is freezing onto my hat, and it was hard and interesting and fun. Um, so I actually have my medal from my very first race ever, 5 miles. Um, so that was my very first race. And then after that, kind of went through the holidays and then decided to do a frostbite 5K on um, if you're from the Louisville area, it was Cherokee Park with the hills that I was also not prepared for. So I'm just kind of learning things as I go. So I've started adding hill training into my workouts so that I know what going up a real big hill is like, especially on a race day. And so doing these in-person events was really cool. And then when COVID came, we didn't have them anymore. And so I really wasn't sure what to do. And I talked in that other video about finding Yes.Fit. Yes.Fit was a virtual race. They bring the physical and digital worlds together to be able to do races. And so we would sign up for races, be able to send links to friends and do them with friends, even though we weren't together. It really made logging miles really easy, and it gave it something to feel motivated and accomplished for. Um, so I've been doing them since 2020, and the last one I did was actually for New Year's this year. So in the month of January, I challenged myself to run 35 miles, and all of them were on the treadmill because it's still cold, and I think we had snow for 20 of the 30 days in January. So it was all done on the treadmill. But what it did was it gave me that motivation to get up and get moving. So here is my Happy New Year Yes.Fit medal. And it ships automatically after you finish logging the 35 miles for your race. They are super heavy and very solid medals, and I really like them. So Yes.Fit is one of the ways that kept me motivated and still does keep me motivated today when I'm looking to get moving, especially in a running aspect. They also have other fitness programs, and you also don't have to run to log your miles, that you can do conversions for whether you like to swim or row or do elliptical, bike. All of those are options with conversions to be able to put it in there. It really is your race and however you want to set it up. That's what I really like about it. So after I started doing the Yes.Fit races during COVID, once COVID lifted and we could start doing stuff again, I challenged myself to do a half marathon. So 13.1 miles. I like to tell people I'm only half crazy, not fully crazy. And started working on a training plan for that. And that really included, in the winter months, some very heavy strength training, and then turning into running as the spring and summer came up because my half marathon was in the fall. And I got some advice from some of my old runner friends, and really got into running in ways I never thought possible. So I completed my first half marathon in the Great Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, and it was awesome. So here is my Great Smoky Mountain half marathon medal. Another thing that I really like is I do like the strength training aspect of it. I really like the feeling of being able to do push-ups and pull-ups and things that I didn't think that were physically possible for my body. And so one of the other things that I found through some friends was the Tough Mudders or the Rugged Maniacs. I've done both, and they are essentially runs, I'll say kind of sprints with obstacles in the middle. So there's things that you climb over, things you climb under, you get to jump over fire. And the Rugged Maniac actually does the very first heat is timed. The rest of the heats throughout the day are really about team building and motivation and helping other people through the obstacles so that you finish together, not necessarily in the way of time, but they do have the first heat for the elites that want to see how fast they can go, what that looks like, and they also place. So I have done quite a few of them, and now I really like the aspect of that timed portion. They actually aren't in business anymore, but I have 2 third place female medals as well as 1 silver one. And these are fun. I've done them both in Kentucky, Indiana, and actually in Arizona. So having the different medals for me really just shows the visual representations of things that I was able to accomplish that I never thought possible. So your challenge for today, yesterday's challenge was kind of to start looking at the things and the physical activities that you like to do. Get in Google, research, find things that are fun for you. It just makes movement and exercise that much more fun and motivating when you have something behind it to really push yourself. Also, keep subscribing and liking these videos. Let me know in the comments exactly what activities you're finding. I can't wait to hear about them. And have a wonderful Saturday, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.